What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal, baby? It's the Power Over Everything podcast. I'm your host, Fonzo, and I'm here with my girl, my friend, making it happen, Miss Self-Love herself, the Self-Love Ambassador, Candy. What's going on, Candy?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm chilling. And listen, if this is your first time watching the show, let me just tell you what it's about. You can get an idea. When I say power over everything, I'm not talking about power over people, power over things. And I'm talking about how to have more power over your situations and the things that you deal with in your life. Between more power over your health, your wealth, your spirituality, your relationships, and your finances. That's what I'm talking about, having more power over the things that you can change and that you control, not the outside circumstances. So that's what the show is about. And today, me and Candy got a dope episode lined up, don't we, Candy?
Yes, we do.
We're about to talk that talk. We're about to do what we do. And hopefully we say something that inspire, that motivate, that move you, even with us talking, that move us as well. We got an episode today on self-love. Got the Self-Love Ambassador here. And this episode is going to be on self-love, which it's a very extremely important topic in our lives. The ability for us to love ourselves. You know, a lot of people spend a lot of their life doing things, buying things, going places, to feel a sense of love, to feel a sense of appreciation, or to get people to like, love, and appreciate them. Okay? And there's people that commit suicide because of the lack of love. And they think it comes from the outer people, when really it's a problem with the inside. They're not loving themselves. So I think this episode is definitely needed in this time, in this age, to talk about self-love. And I got again, Candy, who's the self-love ambassador. So Candy, listen, let's talk, Candy, Miss Self-Love Ambassador. How important, from your perspective, how important would you say self-love is for us?
It's very important. It's a part of life that you have to really tap into. You can't avoid it. Because honestly, if you don't have self-love, you're not going to be able to let anyone else in to actually love you properly.
Right.
Whether that be family, friends, a boyfriend, significant other, you have to make sure you love yourself first.
That's 1,000% true. Some people go trying to get everybody else to love them before they love themselves. And from us talking, you've been on a self-love journey yourself.
Yes, I have.
You've been in the process of working yourself, loving yourself, hugging yourself, kissing yourself, whether that's emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially, right? And maybe you could tell us just a little bit about that journey. For one, what made you go on the journey of self-love? What was the initial step that said, you know what, I got to make some changes here in my life?
I knew one thing with relationships, past relationships, I went through things that I knew I didn't need to go through.
Okay.
But at the time, I guess you could say my self-love was low.
Okay.
And I wasn't loving myself properly to where I let things happen as far as, being in an abusive relationship, mentally, physically, and emotionally. That led me to my wants powering over my needs.
Okay.
To where I knew I needed better. I knew I needed to leave that relationship or those relationships, but I wanted it so bad that I just put up with the hurt. And so that made me realize after the fact that I didn't love myself enough to know. I knew I needed better, but I felt like I wasn't deserving of it. So I allowed myself to go through the things I went through.
That's big. And then the first thing that I would even say, the first step to anything in a situation like that is taking accountability. And it sounds like you looked and said, you know what? I could point the finger, I could point the elbow, I can name call, I can name drop, I can blame, but I'm not. And I know it's a process too.
Yes.
Especially if you have evidence though, like I didn't do this action though, but you said, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to take accountability for what happened because I may not could change a person, but I could change me.
Yes.
A person's going to want what they want, but if I want better, I got to make me better. So It's time for some self-love evaluation here.
Yeah, so in those, dealing with those relationships, I had to realize that I needed to get out because I knew that wasn't going to change. So the only person I have, control over changing is myself. And that took time. That's not something that was a quick process. I had to mentally let myself go out that situation before I could actually physically leave out that situation. And to the point where I had to let my needs overpower my wants. But at that time, it was my wants overpowering my needs. And it took a lot out of me. It's very draining. You know, a lot of times we look at relationships on the outside, from it being family, you know, people in the family being abusive to you, or in relationships. And it's not just physical abuse, it's mental abuse and emotional abuse that people go through. And it's not just women, it's men and women that go through that.
100%.
But it's more where women can talk about it more than men. But men, if not, they deal with it more, if not, less. You never
100%. know.
But it's not common for men to express themselves, or they feel like men can't express themselves. So women and men both go through it. So with that, it's like you have to take a step back and say, you know what, enough is enough. But when I went through the things I went through, I dealt with those for years, to the point where it was like mentally draining, where I had to isolate myself, and I could, certain family off, friends off, and getting out of a relationship, not because they did, family members, I had families that didn't do nothing to me, but it was like I had to be selfish.
Right.
So that way I can really focus on myself without them feeling like I'm putting my hurt and pain on them, if that makes sense.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
So I isolated myself, and I had to really think, because certain situations you go through, like, for instance, cheating. You may not necessarily did the cheating. You know how we say, well, me and that person not together because they did this, they did that, they cheated on me. You have to really take a step back and say, okay, why? What part did I have in it? Because regardless if you want to and I had to do that with, getting to the whole point about self-loving myself, I had to realize what I did wrong in situations. So even, with relationships, cheating, I didn't necessarily cheat. The person cheated on me, but I allowed them to cheat. I allowed it to get to that point, because everybody has a good instinct. You know when something is not right. And then it's like when you have proof, you just still decide to stay. So it's like you're not really changing anything about it. You're staying in a situation that you know better to get out of. But you want that person so much. That goes back to what I was saying about your wants overpowering your needs. You want that person so much, you're willing to deal with the pain they're going to put you through. Because also you got so comfortable with it that it no longer hurts. So it's like after catching them cheating or whatever for the 5th or 6th time, you don't even cry no more. It's not surprising. That shock feeling is
mentally
gone.
accepted it. You
mentally accepted it. So it's like they say, you go through your partner's phone. Don't go through it if you're going to still stay. Because what's the point? You're going to argue. You're going to have a little exchange of words back and forth. But what's going to happen? You're going to stay. And what he's going to do? He's like, she's not going to leave. So why I'm going to stop what I'm doing? So they say, don't go through a person's phone unless you're really going to act on those actions.
Right.
If you, like if you know in your mind, like, okay, I'm going to go through this phone to see if I'm right. If I'm right, I'm leaving. Now I want to see what he's doing, and I'm going to just stay.
Let me just see what's going on.
Yeah, I just want to see what's going on to make sure I'm not tripping, but it ain't bad enough to where I'm going to leave, even though you know. So it's like you become numb to it. And it's never a good thing to, become numb to situations like that, because all it's going to do is hurt you in the long run. So with that being done, I had to actually trigger into past relationships with family, friends, and significant others that I had. Just looking at what part did I have in the situation going left instead of going right, and to make sure that I didn't repeat the cycle. Because a lot of times we go through stuff in life because we haven't learned our lesson.
Right.
So it's like, I want to say, hold on, wait, I learned my lesson. I want to go back through it, because once you hurt to, so bad to the point where it's like you become numb, you know what it feels like, so you want to try to avoid it the best way you can. So with those situations, I had to, like I said, tap in to what I did wrong. It may not have been me, cheating or, call them out their name or anything like that, but I did wrong by allowing it to continue to happen. I allowed to ignore the signs and, so forth. So that's where I say, you have to take accountability for. You may not did the act, but you kind of approved it.
Right.
You allowed them to hurt you, and that's why I said you need to make sure your needs overpower your wants, because if your needs overpower your wants, you'll never have to go through that.
Yeah. And it's an interesting thing that you said, because, you know, a person can do something. The first time somebody do something, it's like, okay, you got me.
Mm-hmm.
Second time they do something, it's like, oh, you still, okay, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens a third time, there's a personal contract you just made with yourself that goes, I accept this now.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes the new normal. Mm-hmm. And some people stay until they can't take no more. Some people leave, but in most cases, some people stay until they just, it's so overbearing now, that they go, okay, I gotta get out of this. Not only do I look stupid, I feel stupid, I feel depressed, I feel extremely less. But it's like at that moment though, it's like I call it slitting your wrist. Mm-hmm. Like you slit your wrist so many times that you've leaked so much blood, and that blood can just be, you've leaked your value, you've leaked your self-esteem, you've leaked your self-confidence, mm-hmm. you've leaked your self-love so much that it's almost like, you know, a person gives blood, you're drained out. Mm-hmm. And when you drain, you're weak. And when you're weak, you can't move. You can't think, you just stuck. Mm-hmm. And then the sad part is while you're weak, you're still getting fed ice cream. So you're still getting fed the words of, I love you. Mm-hmm. I'll always be there. You know I love you. And you might even get your back broken. You know? So on top of all the weakness, you're getting these things, and it's making the person weak and weak. And I will say, men go through it too. But it's not a topic that, you know, like you mentioned, it's not a topic that men run off and talk about because, you know, they don't want to look weak. They don't want to look like they have a lack of masculinity, you know, that they don't love themselves and all of that going on. But men go through it as well. You know, men search for love. Men spend money to get love. They buy shoes and, yo, my man, what you think about this? That's a search for love. Mm-hmm. They buy cars to drive past the girl that they're attracted to and hoping that she goes, ooh, hey, what's your name? That's a search for love. That's a search for appreciation. Mm-hmm. That's a search for something that he feels that he's lacking. So let me ask you this question, not to push into your story. So at what point, or was there an incident that you said, okay, I got to roll? Enough is enough. You know how they say, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, eventually you take some cough medicine.
With that one particular situation, when I had enough is when the last time he put his hands on me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
and prior, you know, it was like I always would not defend myself. Like I wouldn't fight back. Mm-hmm. I'll just take it. But that last time I had to fight back. And I was done. And he knew I was done. Because I was never like try to make the situation bigger. Uh-huh. So I would just, like I said, I would just take it. And that last time it just got out of hand to where I had to defend myself. Yeah. And, you know, with, you know, physical abuse, you have to sit there and that's like it mentally bothers you, the inside. Because it's like, okay, the person that's actually doing this to me, say, you know, he loved me, this and that, but he's putting me through this actually physical pain that people can see after it's over and done with. They can see something's not right. Right. Either, you know, leaving bruises, marks. And I actually had bruises and marks and had to go to the hospital. And that was the last time. I was done.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Got you. And it's amazing that, you know, abusive relationships have this love and hate bond there that it gets real deep, but that can keep people together until the pain gets unbearable. Mm-hmm. Then they go. But if the pain is, I call it not too hot, not too cold. If the water's always lukewarm, then most likely a person will stay. I get, like, if Ike didn't beat Tina that bad time, she probably would have stayed. Mm-hmm. But it's that, it's that one time you're like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's like you want it so bad. You want it so bad to work, especially when you invest time. Right. Because it's like, I don't want to start over. I invested all this time in this person. I know it's got to work. Mm-hmm. But you have to really come to open your eyes and see it for what it is. Because a lot of times we look at, you know, people and see a potential in them instead of looking at the surface and looking for, you know, what the person's actually showing you. Okay. So in the inside, you're knowing what kind of heart this person has, but in the surface, they don't care. You know, because if they did, they wouldn't put you through certain things. You know, everybody's not perfect. Of course, you're going to go through things, but to that extent, you don't have to go through it. And so during that process with me, it was like I had to realize that I deserve better, and I didn't want to continue going through that.
Got you. I'm pretty sure there's some women watching right now that's probably been or went through something similar, and I want to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. So you decide you're out the relationship. You decide, okay, I got to be alone, because I think it's that time where we tempted to go back. Mm-hmm. Is where not only do you have pain, you have the void. Mm-hmm. And those are two things that people do whatever they can to fill. You know, and those are the times where we're the most vulnerable. We're very vulnerable at those moments. So during that time, because I know the temptation was probably there to go back. Mm-hmm. During that time, what is maybe something that you thought, something that you felt, something that you read, something that you maybe said to somebody, said to yourself, to keep you from going back? And we're going to dig into what was that healing process like to move forward. Because if you don't heal, you'll move forward with that on you.
It's actually, and it's crazy that I didn't read anything. Every time I wanted to go back, I remember. Videos? No, I was joking. Go ahead. One of the things that would have me not go back is hurtful words that he said to me as he was hitting me. Mm. You know, a lot of times we always want to think of the good things, the good times that make you want to go back. But I did the opposite. I would think about the things he said to me as he was hitting me that made me not want to go back. Mm. So when I had those moments where, I want to, thinking about, all the years we invested in the good times, I had to tap in actually for what it was and what actually happened.
Got you. Mm-hmm. So you replayed some words in your head, you replayed some pain, mm-hmm. some moments, and examined, say, okay, if you go back, this is where you're going. Mm-hmm. If you go back, you're taking the front seat in hell, and it's on you this time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you say, you know what, I'm not going back, but I got to go forward.
Yes.
So let's talk about that process of, okay, I'm not going back. What are some things that you did to heal yourself in that moment? I know you didn't just eat ice cream and but they eat dark chocolate strawberries.
It was a process. I basically work helped me a lot to kind of keep my mind off it. But when I wasn't at work, I listened a lot of gospel music.
Okay, shout out to gospel.
Yes, I listened to gospel music. I was, reading different things, just to keep my mind off of it, spending time with my family. Being around my family and my friends helped a lot, because certain ones knew what was going on, so I could be around them without them constantly questioning me about it.
Right.
So where it's a constant reminder.
Yeah.
Or, saying, oh, I don't know how you, stayed or anything like that. They was just there for me and then left it at that.
Got you.
So that helped a lot. So it made me feel like I wasn't alone. Because a lot of times with those situations, we're so embarrassed by what we put up with that we don't want to repeat, let it be known.
Right.
We
went through that.
Because a lot of them, they don't know to the extent of what I went through.
Right.
To this day,
no doubt.
Because certain things you keep, private, and it's sad that you want to still protect the person that didn't protect you, if that makes sense.
No doubt.
So a lot of things I still kept to myself, but they knew a ballpark of things that was going on, to where they was able to be there for me like they needed to be. Got you.
So let me ask you this question then. So you're right. Dealing with it alone can be very challenging. It can be a very, very challenging thing. And again, that's those times when you're the most vulnerable. And those are the times when people go back because you got pain, you got void, and you got being lonely. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's good you have people that's around that kind of knew that you can maybe mention it without feeling awkward, feeling weird, or feeling like you're just 1,000% about to be judged.
Yeah.
So you don't want to say nothing at all about the situation because those three, pain, void, and loneliness can drive a person crazy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of women don't heal from that. They actually take it, they drag that bag with them, hoping that the next person can sew them up.
Yeah, and it was not an easy process because I did go through the depression stage, to where I felt like I didn't deserve better. You have those low moments when you're by yourself. Mm-hmm. Especially during the day you're working, you're around people, they may, say something to make you smile and laugh, and then when you're at home by yourself in your room in the dark, you get through that depression stage, and you have to basically talk yourself out of it.
So what's something now we begin to it. So what's something in that moment? What is something, because you might help somebody watching. I don't know if anybody's watching has been through. I'm sure there's somebody watching that been through an abusive relationship. In that moment, what's something that you said to yourself to get through that moment when you're home alone in your room? What's something that you possibly said to yourself to carry you through those moments?
The things that I wanted to hear from, family, friends, or significant other, I said it to myself.
Like, give me an example.
So I would tell myself, I love you. You're beautiful. You deserve better. I would say those things. And I talked a lot with God at night. Mm-hmm. And I would also talk to my granny, which she's passed, but I would, act like I'm, when I act, but I would talk to her at night when I was having my low moments, going through that process.
Self-affirmations is powerful. Because they say the most important things you can hear about sometimes the best things you hear about yourself are the things you say to yourself. And I really don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people get up, start the day, and just go, and they're not afraid to call themselves dumb or say that was stupid or you dumbass or you stupid, But I don't think a lot of people actually affirm themselves enough. I really don't. And I think me and my buddy did an episode about that, about how important it is to get in the mirror or even just alone and just affirm great things. I am amazing. I am incredible. I am deserving. I am strong. I am enough. I'm not weak. I have power over everything.
Yes.
I am powerful. You know what I'm saying? I'm powerful. I'm incredible. And even just saying those things, it raises your energy, it raises your self-esteem, it can raise your confidence just in the moment. And I think it's very powerful. So if you're watching this, don't be afraid to affirm yourself. Say affirmations. You can do them in the morning. I do them in the morning. Get in the morning, get in your mirror. Say great things about yourself and to yourself. If you're having a crazy day, things ain't going right, circumstances get out of control, write them on an index card and pull them out in the middle of the day and just read them to yourself. I am amazing. I am incredible. I will make this happen. I will make this work. Good things happen to me. Good things are for me. I am deserving of good things. It's good to affirm those things to yourself. Morning, noon, and night. And you'll be surprised over time the effect that it'll have on your mentality, the effect that it'll have on your world, your work, your money, the relationship you have with yourself, even the people that you're around will start to see a new light, a new glow on you. And it's because of the things that you're affirming and that you're saying to yourself. So I think that's pretty dope, the affirmations, right? So we're gonna go into this. We're gonna go into the self-love. We're gonna go back into the self-love, right? So what is something you would tell a woman that's been through that situation, has been abused or been in crazy relationships, and they're trying to repair themselves? They're trying to, or even maybe they just got out. They're trying to mentally rationalize what the hell just happened. In referencing to self-love, what is something that you would tell a woman that's probably watching this episode? I may have been through those things.
I would say to actually take quiet time for yourself. And it's okay not to want to tell. Like, you could open up to someone about what happened, but don't have to give them all the details. To where you're comfortable enough to express it to them, to help, guide them in the right way.
Right.
But also still protecting themselves to where
they won't hear from a friend.
They don't feel too vulnerable.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. That's important.
Because a lot of times we react off emotions. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we could be talking to someone and say things that we really wasn't ready for them to know, if that makes sense.
Right. Get caught up in the words.
Yeah, so now you have anxiety because now you're worried about who they're going to tell it to.
Right.
So I would say through the process, if you have a friend, talk to them to the extent where you will be okay with if they did repeat it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Because, sometimes they say, I won't say nothing, sometimes you have to, and you need someone to talk to. So if you have that friend, just make sure you're telling them what you feel comfortable with telling them, to where, because anxiety makes it worse.
Right, I can imagine. I can only imagine.
To where you're constantly on edge. Dealing with being in an abusive relationship, mentally, physically, emotionally, will give you PTSD.
I can imagine.
To where anything is like a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Certain tones.
Jumpy.
Yeah, certain tones, certain body language. So
you'd be like, "Babe, you could, nigga, I thought you was about to hit me."
Nah, it's just like it's like you don't, because you know what a person is capable of.
Right.
It don't, like I said, don't have to be physical, but certain words will trigger you to make you feel back at that low point. So during the whole process, take time to yourself, take quiet time, and if you feel like someone is not deserving of being around you and your atmosphere that you're trying to go in, don't be around them. You know, because a lot of times we have those friends or family that are constantly questioning what you're doing, what you got. At that time, going through the process of trying to figure out yourself, don't be around them, because you really, through the whole process, you really have to take time for yourself and be selfish to where. Because a lot of times you're around people, they always want something. So it's like you're not mentally there yet to be helping anybody. You have to get yourself. Your own cup. Yeah, so take time to yourself. If you talk to someone, just be careful of what you discuss with them, that you're comfortable with them. If whatever you tell them, you're okay with them repeating if they were to repeat it.
Got you.
Because you don't want to cause extra anxiety, extra stress on yourself. Take time to take yourself. I will go out to eat by myself. I will go to the movies by myself. Everything that I wanted to do, I did it by myself. That will be my me time.
Right.
And of course, you go through whether you want somebody to go with you, but when you go through the process of doing it by yourself, you become more comfortable with being by yourself. You actually are okay with the person. Like, I love myself. Right. I'm okay with sitting at the table by myself, having me a drink, having me some good food. Go buy me some outfits to make myself feel good. And that's very important, because a lot of times we're so accustomed to having someone there, we lean on them, but who's to say that person always going to be there? Whether it's a family member, a friend, a significant other, they're not going to always be there. So in the meantime, what are you going to do? You're just not going to spend time with yourself? You're not going to go to certain places because you don't have nobody to go with? No. Take yourself out. Have a drink. Even go get you, a bottle and go to the house and drink by yourself. Play some music, play some Pandora, and enjoy your own company. Because a lot of times, we say self-love, but then we don't actually love the person that we see in the mirror. That we don't even want to spend time by ourselves.
We can't even look in the mirror without finding our flaws first. The hardest thing people do is look in the mirror without finding the flaws first.
Yeah.
Or look at a picture and find the flaws first. Look at a picture and go, I look good in that dress. You go, oh no, look at my arm. Look at my toe.
Yeah, so it's very important in the whole self-love, doing self-evaluation, seeing what things you need to change about yourself to get to where you're trying to go. So through the whole process, like for example with me, I knew I wanted a certain type of guy. So with that, I had to look at the guys I was dating in my past and what I wanted in my present and future. And really spot out what I wanted. And also don't go looking for it. If it's for you, it's going to be for you. And of course, there's some people like to go out and do their own thing. Like, I have my eye on that person. But to me and how I am, I'm like, through the whole process, let me focus on me. If something comes to me, then I'll act on that.
Let me see.
But
I'm chilling, but I got an eye over here just in case.
And the reason why I said don't go looking, because sometimes when you still need to be working on yourself, you still on the hunt.
Right. You still got that wound.
You still got that wound that you haven't repaired. So even with the whole, I'm going to go out because I want to meet, no, let it come to you. So through the whole process, you can really focus on you and enjoy your own company. And see where you went wrong in the past. What lesson can you get out of it to help you move forward? And really think about, what do you want? Because a lot of women say they want certain things that they really don't want.
Right, and they count the cost.
Or, let me take that back. Like I was saying earlier, your wants and needs. You have to realize sometimes what you want is not what you need. And always your needs need to overpower your wants.
Right, or if you took care of your needs and see if you got any extra energy to take care of because those wants is going to come with something.
Yes.
Everything we want, we desire, is coming with it's coming with the tax. We want this type of person, it's going to come with a tax. So we that type of person. Or if I want a certain status, can I meet that status without getting the status? Can I be that without having that? Because then I can attract that. Or do I really feel like I deserve that? Because if I get it and the part of me feel like I don't deserve it, I'm not going to keep long. I even may destroy it or mess it up because I may have got it but not feeling like I was deserving of it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's big. And I think a point that you made, I think is huge. Is super huge, is being okay with your own company. Because if you don't like you, how in the hell is somebody else supposed to deeply like you if you don't you don't like you deeply? Mm-hmm. If you don't love you, it would be silly. It would be insane. It'd be bugged out to really believe that somebody's going to love you if you don't love you. Because then who are they loving? Mm-hmm. Where's that love that they're giving you? Where is it really going in? Because you can't even give it to yourself. You don't think you deserve it of it from yourself. So how can someone genuinely put it there? And a lot of women don't realize that because they don't love themselves, they don't even allow themselves to be loved. Mm-hmm. So
love properly.
Right, even if the love was coming. Mm-hmm. Some people don't believe they're worthless, so they believe love is the scars. That's another episode. We ain't gonna go there. But they believe pain is love. Because my sense of everybody's version of love is different. Everybody wasn't brought up on the same idea of love. The same feelings of how do I feel love. Everybody's process to feel that has been different. If you had to work hard to be loved, you believe you got to work hard to be loved. You don't believe it's quote, quote, unconditional. Mm-hmm. Unconditional, what's that? No, not me. That's not for me. Or if you got beat, let's say if you got whippings and like a parent's be, I'm whipping you because I love you. I'm whipping you because I love you. I'm whipping you because I love you. You will grow up thinking pain is love. Mm-hmm. And you will subconsciously seek out pain for love. That means they love me. What you mean? They love me. Mm-hmm. And anything that's not that, he's balling. Nigga, would you raise your hand? Grab me. You know what I mean? Chump, do something. Why are you just standing there? Argue back. Yeah. Why you leaving? This ain't gonna work. I need to feel, because that's the person's version of love, and that's a whole other topic. But again, I think self-love is highly important. Again, I don't think it's talked about enough in depth. I don't think a lot of people do it, understand it, practice it. It's just we get up, go to work, pay bills, and just live life and look up. It's the weekend and die. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the road to many people's lives, and that's another reason why. That's another reason why I wanted to do the episode, because I wanted to talk about self-love and hear a person that's been through a journey and practicing self-love. So if you're watching this episode, hopefully something was said that could benefit you. Hopefully something was said about self-love that maybe you can implement, that maybe you can practice right away, not later, not tomorrow, like right away, tonight. Practice it, or whenever you see this. You can practice it tonight. I think it was a dope episode. Candy said some dope stuff. And we're going to wrap this episode up. Candy, where can they find you at on Instagram? What's your IG? You know about heart? Okay, it's at sincerely_candy. At sincerely_candy. Okay, you can find on Facebook at Candice Denise. Y'all know my shit on Instagram. All good. Right? Y'all can find it there and follow her. You can follow her journey. She got an amazing finish. We're going to do an episode talking about that. And you know where you can find me at. I'm everywhere. If you there, I'm there. All right? But we're going to wrap this episode up. We appreciate you for watching. And remember, you're more powerful than you think you are. What's your saying, Candy?
Self-love is the best love.
Yeah.